Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on March 9th, 2024 at approximately 4:26 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one time and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everyone. What, pray tell, is going on? Oh, we apparently had two runs up. So, of the extra window. So that said, we can close that and hope we didn't just screw ourselves up completely. And no, that would appear to have solved that. Anyway, now that we started off to a nice little hiccup, today I figured let us take a look. Well, we'll take a look at it in a second. But what we're looking at today is step two, designing the new you, your material world. Before we get into it, though, okay, a couple of things to point out to acknowledge here. We have. That's interesting. I love the way my computer works on occasion, or doesn't, depending on how you look at it. Well, I think I screwed something up because it looks like Shadow and Sun is in with the gold, not with the silver, and apparently I misunderstood something. LA, this means you are in with the silver. Now, before I go further on that, apparently this is going to be one of those days. So, this is the link to Shadow and Sun's live stream. So, absolutely drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, it is by sharing these connections that we have a good shot at turning this world around and getting it back on decent track. Okay, now with this in mind, okay, Shadow, I do hope things are going well. I know they can be a little hectic for you on occasion, but we'll see how that goes. I gotta make sure I wrote something down here. As we know, my life is usually a little screwed. So we go way back here and we go H. Right there. Nope, we got it. I've got a list that I'm putting together. Like, I put a list together to make sure that my material world stays on track. Okay. With that in mind, okay, because it's saying I don't think I can do that. Nope. Cannot. So I'm not going to worry about it. So, when we're looking at redesigning your material world, first thing you got to take a look at is number one, are you content with the way your world is working? If the answer is yes, then odds are you're not listening to this. If the answer is no, it's time to put things in perspective. Take a look at the way your world is set up. Okay. In case you couldn't tell, I'm not overly happy with the way mine is, which is why I keep having to move things around. But that being said, pop that up there out of the way. Now, that being said, this neat little thing I work with, okay, this funny little list I keep telling you about, when you've got it working right, it makes it so much easier. Storm, how are you doing? You are in with the bronze. Hopefully your day has gone well. My day has been as hectic as I can get, as I can make it, I'm sure of it, which is why I didn't end up contacting you to get things sorted out. But you take a look at the immediate area you're working with. In my case, now, what do we got here? That's an entry I have to finish tonight. This one can go where it belongs. So, like I said, one of the biggest things we have to remember is if you're not content, make the changes immediately. Do not wait. I will tell you, procrastination has never got much done. Okay, unless you were talking about it managing to procrastinate or put things off. You know, there's an old saying that goes, never do today what you can put off till tomorrow. That worked great, except I didn't like it much, so I went never do what you can put off. Okay, expediency, it works like a charm, except for getting things accomplished. Where it comes to your material world, let me see here. That's my list of chores I'm working on. This, what is that? That goes over there. This one here should have been isolated, so that's okay. That'll get dealt with today after stream. That's already dealt with, so that works. When you figure out what you're not content with, this is where we start. Now, watch this one. Got my trusty little notepad. That way I can make things happen. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to upgrade my material world. Okay, this is one of the first things that's going to end up going, but I've got match one over there. Okay, which means these 2 bookshelves, 3 bookshelves. Okay, I prefer oak, and that's what I'm getting. It's just that simple. See, here's the thing. Take a look at the world you've got. Are you content with the way it looks to you? And understand one little detail. I am not talking about setting an image for anybody but yourself. Now, here's the thing. I'm setting things up in here, in the heart of the empire I'm building, so that I have the best of the best in my eyes. Now, these bookshelves I've got that I pointed at over there, okay, they're good enough bookshelves. They work. But they aren't what I desire. I like oak. I'm now in a position to start looking at it. So what I'm going to be doing, I've got 3 bookshelves in here. Okay. And while I do this, Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Nathan, you are in with honorable mention today. Nice change. Obviously, things are a little slower than normal. Where are we? Nathan, where are we? Right there. Okay. And we scroll that down and we go, Nathan. This is the live stream to Nathan's Quantum Show. Absolutely. Drop in, follow the link, go listen to what he has to say. If you like what he says, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Where are we here? Oh, you're off on Monday. That's an odd one. The reality is, and this is what I was going to do. Like I said, I deal in essentially real time. So I grabbed my neat little tape measure, and I think these are 2 by 12. They are 30 inches by 12. There we go. 30, in other words, 2.5 by 12. So we're looking at changing the real world. Now I'm not cutting it, so I only have to measure once. When you're building something, the rule of thumb is measure twice, cut once. Reason being, cutting twice is kind of silly, and measuring twice saves you the hassles. So we are going to be, and you'll see this, I don't know how quick. It really depends on how the finances go. Oak bookshelves, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 shelf, which are 30 inches by 12 inches. Now, since I desire these to be a matching set, okay, I've now taken a measurement. I know how big they are. So you're just going to have to bear with me because got onto the oddball thought process. Something just hit my mind. We're looking at redesigning the material world. Well, the reality of it is procrastination isn't going to do you any good. Therefore, when you get a thought in your head, putting it off doesn't actually work all that well. Okay. This is why I went, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Now, I've got the bookshelf sorted out. The bed, that's the easy part. It's staying put. Okay. But when you look at the material world, here's the thing. A brand new car, first and foremost, the value of it, the moment you drive it off the lot, the value of it collapses. You'll lose, I think, 20% right off the top. This isn't necessarily a good idea. Second issue you got to remember, sure, it's nice to have a brand new car. But a brand new car, somebody is more likely to break into than an older one. Okay, it's that simple. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the best of the best all throughout here because that's what I desire. Not to make a mark for anybody. Okay, when you're looking at changing your material world, figure out who you're actually doing it for. Okay, and the real kicker to that is you look at it, if you're trying to make an impression on other people, okay, you're likely to find yourself in trouble. This is why so many people end up in debt so fast and so far. Okay, so what we are looking at, and this is why, where is it? Over here. When we're looking at the material world, now the funny part about this is these 3 little books. This handles your outlook on you. That's believe in yourself and follow your dreams. This one, believe in your business and follow your dreams. This is of the utmost importance when you realize that running a house business, you still have to pay your rent. You've still got to pay your utilities. You still got to keep food in the house. You know, everything's got to be taken care of. And running a household is, bar none, in my opinion, the hardest business to run. Not the hardest job. The hardest job, raising kids. Don't believe me? Take a look at your own your efforts at raising your own kids. Or in the event that you don't have any, think back to what you were like as a kid and see how much fun that was for your parents. Okay, so, running a house, taking care of your material world can be done in a couple of ways. And that's where this comes in. Believe in your finances and follow your dreams. And here's this other neat little one I'm working on translating. I wrote the backbone to this one. It's in the process of being done. This shows you literally, or will show you literally, how to track your finances. If you don't know how, absolutely talk to me. I will tell you, the material world, as in redesigning it, does not require a degree in rocket science. It requires a degree of patience and persistence. Okay, needless to say, if you don't know, well, maybe it's needless to say, I don't know. If you don't know where to begin, absolutely drop me a line in the comments, drop me an email, any number of ways to get a hold of me. And just in case you're wondering, this is the email to make direct contact with me. It's the one I usually live inside. Okay, so if you've got a question, absolutely drop me a line. Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And where are we, Chad? Glad I've still got that open. Chad Smith, where are you? There we are. This is the link to Chad's live stream. Okay, so drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Then share the daylights out of the thing. Oh, there you go, Chad. Yeah, Chad's right here in Michigan. Now, the reality of it is, I don't know how far away from me Michigan is, or how far away Reno is. I do know, and I forgot which one it is. I'm either heading for South Carolina or North Carolina sometime later this year, which means for a recluse, I'm starting to get a little bit more active. Nice part about it, from my standpoint, you take a look at the material world. What can you do to change yours? Oh, there you go. So, Chad, does this mean you're dropping in Reno? Here's the neat little part there. I am, like, for me in Reno, I'm going to be there from the 8th until the morning of the 14th. Okay. Now, the 8th and the 13th are write-offs. Don't even think about it. Okay. The other day, and of course, the 10th to the 12th, we've got the party. But I am going to be down there for a few days. Because, as we all know, we got an interesting little party. For me, it's a whole lot more important than the party, but that's another issue. Oh, there you go. Chad's going, I'm not sure if I could get that much time off work, but I would love to see the country via rail. We used to have the railroads up here, but for whatever reason, they shut them down. I don't know why. Don't care why. Don't know why. Okay, but you desire to change your world. Well, the first thing you look at is take a look at the layout you've already got. Now, I'm starting with this room. Okay. Ferret, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I'm going to have to make a point. I don't know if I'm going to on the go an awful lot this year. I do want to make a run back down to Comox. This time I'm not waiting another, what would it be? It'd be another 81. I don't doubt that, Ferret. Ferret's just letting us know the rail in Canada, where it still exists, is more expensive than flying. Absolutely, but I don't argue that. I just came to the conclusion that the money itself, as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing with it, the money itself is not the critical issue. It's whether you've overextended yourself. And this is why, when we look at modifying your material world, okay, step 2 is know where you're standing materially speaking. Okay, know what your limits are. As the saying goes around casinos, know your limits and STEM play within it. Life is a game. The question is not, are you going to die? The question is, how are you going to live? Now, in my case, I know what I'm picking up. Like I said, I'm looking at the bookcases. I got one here, one over here, and of course the third one back here. I'm getting more. I'm getting 3 more, but they're going to be oak. Okay. The desk I've got to measure and see if I can actually get an updated one. But I've only got so much room to work with, so it may not happen for a while. Oh, nice. Farron, 36 hours on the rail from Seattle. It's 36 hours on the rail. That seems a bit excessive, but I will give you this. That means it's slow. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that's a bit too slow for me. I may eventually do it anyway. It's not like I'm in a hurry anymore. Finally came to the conclusion being in a hurry has got me nowhere. Okay. And society has moved to such an incredible level that, that it turns around and says, hey, we have a problem here. We have a massive problem. Everybody is aiming at going, hey, we're going to turn around, and we're going to make everything happen right now. This is no longer the way to operate. And I know everything is geared toward faster, faster, faster. Here's a neat little trick. Faster. Pony Express, coast to coast, 7 days. Faster, we go to technology. Computer, okay, with computers, with modern science. Mail, in city, 7 days. I'm not sure how technology worked out to be faster if you think of it in those terms. But take a look at what you're aiming for. Okay, make a list of, but only pick one room at a time. You desire to start changing things. Don't try and change everything at once. Okay, make certain you know what the financial side is, what it's going to cost you to replace stuff, and make sure you know where it's heading. Yeah, Chad goes, Chicago to Seattle is one train, well, that's going to have to wait because I can't read a thing and blocks out one word. So I'll get to that in a second. I got to keep that in mind in case you hadn't noticed. But again, we're looking at a material world. And if you're going to redesign, take a look at what you're aiming for. Now, for me, my appearance to me is what matters, not to anybody else. And that's the thing to keep in mind. Yeah. Well, that's just it. You don't have to train. I wouldn't even bother trying to get onto a train to go, to have to jump from one train to another. I mean, that would be exciting when I was younger. We used to climb around the back of trucks and jump from one truck to another. Not necessarily bright, but we lived through it. So take a look at the material world. Are you changing your world, or are you considering changing your world because of other people's perception of the way you are? Like we could take a look at me and go, well, your hair is not entirely, other people go, your hair is not entirely neat and tidy. Okay. I'm lucky. I don't get in front of a computer or in front of a mirror. What my hair looks like, I don't have to worry about. So you take a look and ask yourself, number one, who are you changing for? Is it for you? Is it because of how other people are seeing you? Or is it because you're trying to impress somebody? And this may be just the general population. There's only one person when you're looking in the material world that you really ought to consider impressing. That is the guy or the girl in the mirror. Okay, that's it. You don't worry about the rest because they will change their own outlook according to their own requirements. And many times they'll guide you down a road that works well for them, but not for you. Okay, this is why you take a look at the world you've got. If you're going to change your world, make sure you're changing it for you. Okay, now let me ask you this. When you think about it, are you happy with the way your house is set up, with the way your life is running? Because that's where the change has to start. We talked about this the other day about your mindset. Well, now we're talking about altering your physical world. Okay. So I get these little projects on the go. You know, this neat little book. I am about a fifth of the way through it, making headway. Okay. This one, let's see. This is book number 2. And again, these are just little goals that I put together that I marked down I was looking for. That puts me on page 17 out of approximately 400. And of course, we know the Bible is going to take a while to read. But all of the changes you're aiming to make, do them one step at a time. Pick one room, preferably, in my opinion, the one you work on your finances in. Okay, that's the first one to get straightened out because the clutter in your office, wherever you're working on finances, that clutter is going to clog the energy and make it harder for you to focus. Okay, it's just a simple issue of turning things around on that end. Now, I call it simple because we're talking the concept. Now, with this in mind, let me ask you this, guys, because I got so many different things on the go here. But a lot of what I'm working on, I am literally gearing around how I can get the information in what order out to you guys. Because I've made enough mistakes in my life. I'm personally of the opinion, if I can show you how to avoid the mistakes I made, maybe you can actually land on your feet without all the struggles. Okay, now, in order to do that, what have I got? Oh, wonder if I put that there where it should have. This is that neat little itinerary of mine, which is why today we are here. Tomorrow's open. On the 11th, we are looking at the Spear Knocked In, a cute little alien race from another planet. You'll love it. You'll get a kick out of them. Then on the 13th, not only are we looking at society and how we can change it, okay, how you can have a direct impact on it. We're starting with a direct impact on your material world today. Then we're going to take a look at the society's outlook on it. Okay. And of course, the 14th is easy. I won't be here. That happens to be, that's my gaming night. But take a look at your material world. Okay. Pick whatever that you desire to change. Now, where is this? Those, and I've got to go. Upgrade computer system. These are the changes I am making to my material world just in here. And like I said, It really boils down to getting an idea of what works for you. The idea of going, oh, I'm thinking about changing. It's a great idea. There's a problem with it. The saying, that thinking about doing something is as good as doing it. Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about having dinner and not done it, and not actually got up and cooked it, ordered it, had it brought in, whatever? Okay. Have you ever tried to do that and see how fulfilling that meal is? If you don't get off your tail feathers, it doesn't change. Ultimately, this is the backbone of it. Now, for those of you that are following, that are locked in and going, I worship God and He'll take care of me. Rest assured, God will help those that help themselves. Which means, by the way, if you desire dinner, absolutely you're going to have to get up and cook, because I'm laying odds He doesn't cook that much. Okay. So what we're looking at this point is, figure out what you're not content with. And remember, when you're looking at changing the physical appearance of what you're working with, it doesn't have to be brand spanking new from the biggest name company in the world. Okay, it really doesn't, because whether you're spending $10 on a pad of paper, or on a notepad, and I've seen a simple thing like this. I've seen people charge, sell them at $6 and $7 for a clipboard. I like this one. It cost me a whopping buck. First rule of thumb: you desire to change your material world for the better. You got to understand how money works. And the first thing when we look at the finances is understand this. Money doesn't care how you feel, doesn't care who you are. It's not going to react to your pleas, to your moods. You can't even buy money a toy and have it work better. And let's say you give money a raise. Okay. This is just the backbone of your material world. Money itself is not the evil thing. Okay. Because it doesn't care. Since it doesn't care, it cannot possibly be evil. But what it can do is it can afford you all kinds of benefits. As one gentleman put it to me, he goes, I've been miserable rich and I've been miserable poor. Hands down, I would rather be miserable rich. In my case, I am turning around and I'm going for the stars. I'm done. Okay. This idea of fighting one day to the next to just keep a roof over my head, I'm done with it. Okay. Let me ask you this. What would you do? Okay. If I told you that I can actually show you in very simplistic terms how to take your material world and shift it for what you consider the better. Let's face it, whether your life improves or not isn't going to have a whole lot of bearing on my life. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, the tools that you choose to pick up, make sure they're ones that you know work. And this is why I say the tools I offer here are literally the tools I personally am using. Okay. Today is Saturday, so it won't be until Monday that I go in and talk to my printer again. Because there is a whole lot of change happening. And, I'm going to offer you the option of following me along on this journey. And no longer are we talking about, and no longer are we going to talk about chasing your dreams. Okay. Or chasing a miracle. Not going to happen. Okay. We are talking about attaining your dreams, attaining your goals. Because if you desire to chase them, this is great. You can get a lot of exercise and very little fulfillment. Okay, this is why when I went, I'm building an empire. This is the dream I've got. A world that is riddled with a massive pandemic of people helping people, of, of people attaining their dreams, not just sitting on the sidelines and going, gee, I really wish I could do that. Okay, it's time for us all to get off our tail feathers, quit blaming everybody else, and realize you don't get off your own tail feathers, you're not changing your world. Somebody in here the other day made a comment that was absolutely priceless. Change is, and I'm paraphrasing, change is the only path to success. Because if you're not successful already, okay, and you stay doing the things you've been doing, you're going to maintain a stagnant position. I'm no longer interested in having a stagnant position. Why, pray tell, is that way? Oh, that's why that's that way. Because I didn't move that. There we go. Now we're a little happier with it. So if you're going to attain your material world, the type of change you personally desire, then you're going to have to do something with it. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Do you have any idea where to start? Okay. Because I'm not going to make you work for it. I'm not going to wait till the end of the stream. I'm going to tell you right now where you start to attain your dreams is you start right here, right now, right where you are. Okay, this is why I've got this. Okay, to mark down the changes I require. Now, I've been putting a list of things to take with me. Neat part about it, this year, when I'm making my trip, when I make the trips, I'm bringing stuff down with me I'm not taking home. But then the way I figure it, I've got stuff that's got to go elsewhere. So it really boils down to a very simple issue. Okay, I'm no longer putting, like when I go, this is what I'm offering. The way I figure it's very simple. Okay, I turn around and go, this is what I'm offering. You desire it, that's no problem. Right at the top of the link, at the top of this stream, is a neat little link, okay, that says buy me a coffee. Every book I offer, every book, a free newsletter, the consulting that I do is all listed up there, all easy to get a hold of. Okay, and I am doing my level best to make it all happen. Neat part about it, I just got a call today. Somebody locally wanted to get together, wanted to meet up with me. And things have got so busy at this point that I've literally started booking my own time in 3 days down the road. Okay, because I can no longer afford to sit around and wait. What is that? There we are. Yeah, so we've got a lot of changes happening, but it boils down to making it happen your way. Murray, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, Murray, in answer to your question, from my standpoint, I ignore that sort of thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, if Murray's asking, what is your opinion on the human trafficking allegation against Vince McMahon? Allegations I ignore. Okay, that is something for the police to look into and determine if there's anything solid. If we don't have something solid, it's called rumor mongering. And I just don't work with it. Anything is possible. But am I going to go, he's guilty or he's not guilty. No, this is one where this is one of those many things that I will take a look at and go, hopefully not, but if he is found guilty in a court of law that finds him guilty based on the evidence that is there, okay, then hopefully they do what should be done, because where it comes to human trafficking, I am dead set against it. Okay, but I'm not about to go one way or the other whether he is guilty or innocent. Much as I've got my own instincts on it, it's one of those things you're not going to find out from me. But, this is one, at this point, it is strictly because, the sad part is that this is one of those things. Remember I mentioned, well, I don't know if you remember, but the reality is what this is at this point, allegations, rumors. There's all kinds of places to look at them. Okay, this ain't one of them, and I certainly don't bother with it. Okay, like I said, if that is going on, it's a horrendous thing, and human trafficking in any event is horrendous. Okay, I mean, understand, from what I gather, human slavery, okay, was abolished, a century and then some back, maybe 2 centuries back, I don't know anymore. But Pennsylvania, from what I gather, was still having it on the books until 1996, from my understanding. But you want slavery today, you want trafficking today, here's the thing. Are you working for somebody? Okay. Are you working for a wage at somebody else's request, somebody else's demand? Okay. The reality of it is this. We can speculate until the cows come home. But let me point one little detail out. Speculation is an assumption. Absolutely agreed, Storm. When we look at, now here's the thing. Okay, and I mentioned this many times. If you open the door on one thing negative, here's a challenge for you, Murray. Okay, and this goes to any one of you. Here's a challenge for you. We've had an open door on something negative. Now, here's the challenge. Find 2 things positive. Doesn't matter what they are. Find 2 things positive about what you've just witnessed. Okay, you hear all the negative. Why not look at the other thing that I looked at today? I looked at something today that was just absolutely priceless. Okay, and that was, I watched a bunch of people working together. I saw an ad today that was brilliant. Somebody came up with what amounts to Lego-style construction blocks. Okay, where they've taken the whole concept of building a house based on interlocking blocks. Okay, not based on something that's going to take 6 months to put up, aside from plumbing and that sort of thing, and I don't know how that works. Okay, but the superstructure is done in a hurry. Okay, that's building I can do. That's building my younger brother could do in a heartbeat when he was a kid because he played with Lego. Okay, but this is what I'm talking about, making your world better. Now, I was looking at it, and I've got, see, this shelf here. Okay, I'm going to have to go and get a piece of wood, but I got to measure it. I think from this bookshelf to that one on the far end, for me to get another shelf across here so I can actually design things properly, I think that board has to be something like 9 feet long. Okay, but that will open up a lot for me to actually take the world I've got and improve the way it looks. Now, for obvious reasons, the wall behind me, in case you couldn't tell, isn't going to handle this idea. Is that really wide enough? Interesting. I think I actually have room for that. Yeah, I know I'm doing something absolutely bizarre here. Yep. When you're looking at changing your material world, figure out what kind of room you're working with. Because the reality of it. Oh, where are we here? John. Now, John, I do not now. I'm not quite certain how that fits. Okay, that was appreciated. Thank you so much, Shadow, because I have no idea who that was. Really don't have much use for that kind of behavior. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and they mentioned something about how bad their world was. Now, you remember I mentioned the company, the restaurant that I go to on a regular basis. Okay. I kind of gathered that. But thanks, Shadow. Really wasn't, you know. Oh, fair, you didn't miss much. I think I just got insulted. Of course, I'm much better at insulting me than most people are. But the one thing I found is even when you look at somebody that does something stupid, like this John that was just in here, with this John that was just in here, if you know somebody that has done something stupid, okay, and lots of people do, and with this in mind, guys, I'm going to put something out there for everybody that's in the room, okay, and this will be in perpetuity unless something really, really twisted happens. Okay, I've got moderators in the room, okay, but to be very blunt, because I'm so subtly spoken, and I know exactly how to do things from a diplomatic fashion, and promptly ignore it. Something you will understand if you're just joining me. Okay, if you're just joining me, is that a wringer washer and dryer there, LA? Because I think that might be painful. If you haven't been on this stream before, something you gotta realize. I've got my rules. They're all listed at the top here. Okay. But they apply to everybody. And for that reason, I have a few moderators that are right at the top that if anybody steps out of line, okay, and is breaking those, anybody at all, doesn't matter except me. If I step out of line, well, for some bizarre reason, much as I believe in God, I believe in Christ, and in this room, I'm definitely God. Okay. And I know the moderators that I have running top dog have the capacity to shut me down like that. Fortunately, I didn't put them there because of that option. I'm not entirely certain. People keep telling me I've got to learn diplomacy. I've got to learn tact. To my way of thinking about it there, Shadow, I came to one simple conclusion. If I'm being honest, that's all the diplomacy I require. I'm not likely to say things the way other people like them. Okay. But when you see something going wrong, or if you notice, and this definitely applies to all of you, if you notice I've gotten a little far off the beaten track, absolutely point me back in the right direction. It would be appreciated. And it will be appreciated, and you get the whole idea. But the reason that I look at this, there are so many places that you can go to get depressed. Okay. All kinds of them. Yeah, Storm, basically it is. And I'm a firm believer tactical is this. You need to take out a problem, They invented nukes for a reason. Although I don't think blowing them up was actually why they started working on nuclear power. But you desire, like in my case, this wall over here. Okay. The top of that bookshelf, I'm going to look into how thick a chunk of wood I'm going to have. I think probably a 3/4 inch, probably 3/4 of an inch thick to stop it from bowing. Okay. And if that's the case, well, I'll just go down and get one. No, Murray, in all fairness, I did. We had a massive troll attack a little while ago. Okay. That literally was kind enough to cause me a heart attack. So, no, we don't have a lot of tolerance for them. This is why I've got people in the moderator position to remove the problems. We had 3 or 4 people come in that were causing all kinds of problems. Oh, okay. Storm goes more like 1.5 inches. Oh. Well, that's not fun. But no, this is why we don't have tolerance anymore. I tried doing this without having any functional guidelines. Well, one minor heart attack, actually a pretty serious one, later, and I went, no, I'm done with the games. But if people want to get into that kind of shenanigans, or they want to cause a problem, absolutely, there's lots of places to go. There's a neat little place to go, and a lot of people get told that's where they should go. I've been there, done that, no fun. So far, Farron, she hasn't shown up. She's usually, let's see, we're at 5:21. She's usually about another half hour. Yeah, and that's the thing, Murray. There is so much of that going on that we just don't allow for it to take place. Okay, we do our best to make this place a safe place for everybody. Now, the reason I'm looking at changing the material world, I've already made the mistakes. Okay, but now you've got me thinking there, Storm. If I grab this funny little detail, and I go here, because I've got a limited amount of room to work with. Okay, that's 1 foot, so that'll give me about 9 inches. So I do that. If I take 1.5 inches, I've got enough room to put up books all along there to organize it, to keep it neat and tidy. What do we got here? The nice little part about it is I'm looking at redesigning in here, because what's happening, and you guys will be the first to see it. Well, no, wrong. I'll be the first to see it. My kids will be second. You guys are third on the list. Is I will be adding a shelf in there. Now, I can run it, depending on how long it is. That ought to be fun. I'm bringing it in there. I can bring this. That's going to be a 1.5 inches. Oh yeah, very definitely, LA. The thing is, there's a lot of ways. People keep talking about, oh, we're going to be in shortages of this, that, and the other thing. You'll notice I'm not talking about, oh, I don't have enough money to survive. I'm talking about, this is what I'm making happen. This is what I'm turning the lights on. Yeah, that's the thing, Shadow. Quite seriously, I can't do that. What I will be doing, like the shelves on either side are 30 inches wide. Okay. So what I'm looking at there And I'll probably have to bring it in through the window here because I got a window right above me. In order to do it, I'm probably going to have to bring it in through the window because I've got shelves on either end that are 30 inches wide, which means if I take that thing and run it wall to wall, I can set it on the bookshelf, okay, on the top of it, and run it across. Simply because of the fact that, from my standpoint, since I can't put brackets attached to the wall, make it long enough to lock it to the top of the bookshelf. You know, so I haven't quite figured out how to do it, but I'll sort that out. Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm looking at my hallway and, it just doesn't have the maneuverability for it. So it's one of those things I'll have to look at. But I'll figure it out. And of course, the neat thing is I put a shelf across there. I can also put baskets on it. Again, it boils down to this. Yeah, you probably enjoy that, Shadow. Uh-oh. Oh, not fair, Ferret. See, I've got soup set up now. I've got soup that I like. All I do, because I'm not a good cook. I've got a can of, it'll be Campbell's chunky, thing of chunky vegetable I've got, but I'm adding elk to it. Okay, and I'll be making that after I get done this stream. Something about I'm going to have to get something to eat. But the one thing I don't desire to do, and this is why I've been clearing stuff out, is you desire your material world to change. Get rid of the clutter. Shadow goes, tonight was burger night. Fries and onion rings. My kitchen is an oily mess, but so worth it. Yeah, no doubt. Sorry, burger was what I have today. Lunch, I went down to Wings, the restaurant I live at. Had a really good conversation with the new boss. Turns out she's getting her head on straight. Of course, I'm none too subtle about it when I see something off kilter. But my lunch boiled down to a pastrami burger, pastrami, Swiss cheese, and then fries and gravy. Not necessarily the healthiest thing in the world, but I was certainly content with it. The nice part about this is when you look at changing your material world, take the clutter that you've got, dispose of it. Now, that doesn't mean throw it in the landfill. If you can find something, if you can find somebody that can use the stuff you've got that you no longer have a use for. Yeah, this is the first time I've had pastrami in a very long time. If you can find somebody that you're content with, okay, I am very curious. And since I'm sitting right here, trying to avoid hurting myself. One. Came to the conclusion now 2 of these are already gone, but what I'm looking for, because originally when I did this, I built these for a reason, and I had a very solid idea in mind. But the people that were supposed to get them, I never heard back from them, so the original idea didn't work. That's number 4. That's number 6. Well, that one's already spoken for. This is number 5. This is one of those material world things that I'm literally in the process of getting rid of. Whoop. Number 5. There we go. 4, 5, 6. So who are these supposed to go to? And that's number 2, which is not going where it was. And this one here is number 7. Okay. Now this is where I do things a little odd. I used to. Okay. Now, here's the thing, and this is directly to you guys, LA and Shadow. Okay. These in this neat little box that I was talking to you about the other day. Okay, these are actually numbered. But I've got 5 numbers left that I'm literally going to be getting rid of. Because of the amount of help that I've received from you guys, 2 of those are going to you. Oh, nice, Shadow. Yeah, the closest thing I've got to that is a... no, I don't even have that anymore. Oh, wait a minute. I might. Sort of. This, of a specialty bag that I've got, that's the closest I've got. Now, that was made for my crystal ball. Yeah, those old ones. Ferret, have a great night. Thanks so much for dropping in to share your time with us. Really appreciate it. You know, this one was made by a psychic I was working with for my crystal ball. Crystal ball's up there. Okay, other than that, the only bag I used to have was a Crown Royal. Something to do with it came with the alcohol. Absolutely, Shadow. Now the neat little what I was looking at there, and before I say anything about it, after the show tonight, LA, I'm going to give you and Frank a call to find out one little detail with those boxes. Okay, that literally being which ones. Okay, because I've got 5 of them that I'm getting rid of. 2 of them are going to you guys. They're already spoken for. Perfect. I won't, in all fairness, I won't be keeping you that long because I got a lot of things I want to get done. And besides that, I got a little sidetracked. This is terrible. We're at the hour mark and my coffee cup has an extra hole. Somebody's got to do something about these. I know it's supposed to have a hole in the top, but this is not good. So, give me 10 seconds. Well, about a half a minute. Honey, I finally came to the conclusion that if I don't actually keep my caffeine flow going, I run into snags. It's really kind of a weird setup. How'd that work, Shadow? But no, when you're looking at your material world, lay it out, plan it out. Do not make the mistake of just going, oh, I got to get rid of this, and out it goes. I remember working for a company one day that they literally told me, sell everything you've got and replace it all with this kind of company. With this kind of stuff. I'll tell you right now, replace what you require if you can do it. Okay, like these bookshelves. Okay, those bookshelves I'm replacing cost me $100 a pop ish when I bought them. Okay, I know for an absolute certainty we're looking at the bookshelves I'll be replacing are well over, because the solid oak, the ones I'm getting, not pressboard. Okay, they're going to be running me in the neighborhood of $300 a piece. But that's because I desire the best of the best. Now, where it comes to my clothing, I'll upgrade it. But the reality is, I'm doing the changes for me. I've now started in my material world. I've also started looking at the other thing. Okay, I look at the whole picture of the material world, not just the stuff around you, but the stuff around you is what we're looking at right now. Okay. What you have likely isn't the top line, but we're talking top line to you, not to me. Okay. I like oak. A lot of people I know of don't like it. They figure it's overpriced. It's not good, the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter. Okay. Get an idea in your head of what you like the look of. Some people like the red color of teak. I think it's red color anyway. I think that's what I was told. But do your planning properly and do it one step at a time. Okay. I'll be putting money aside so I can actually get the 3 books at the 3 shelves at the same time, at least 2 of them identical time, at exactly the same time. Depending on the price, I may pick up all 3 at once. But I got to figure out where these 3 are going. The fact of the matter is, if I don't require them, I'll find a home to send them to. Okay, because I've already got my use out of them. And the big thing we have to remember when you're looking at changing your material world, it's got to be done methodically. Now, think of this. Okay, you go with the rent to own package. Okay, now let's say you're looking at rent to own and you're doing it from one of these rent to own companies, and they go, hey, you give us $25 a month, $25 a week, and you can have it now. Well, $25 a week means you're looking at 52 at 25. Boy, my math is working really well. I should think before I try and do that. Okay, if you spend $25 a week on something from a rent-own company, okay, over the course of the year, that item that you just bought is going to cost you $1,300. Now I can go to a rent-own place, and I can buy the bookshelves on a lease, on a payment plan. But this is where it gets stupid. Okay, if I were to do that, each bookshelf would cost me $1,300. Okay, do I require the bookshelves right now? No. So I put 25. I figure it's going to cost, it's going to cost me $400 to start with. I look at that and go, okay, if I put $50 a month apart, in 8 months, I can own it outright instead of spending another $500, or whatever it boils down to, another 900. I don't know, but people keep telling me time's an illusion anyway there, Shadow. Besides that, with the amount of missing time I work with, good luck. But I have to take a look at things where we look at your material world. If you're not content, plan the changes out properly. Okay. Patience is actually a virtue. Okay. Actually, in all fairness, Patience was a really nice young lass that I used to know. Used to work in one of the restaurants I lived in. But the idea of changing. That's terrible, Storm. Storm goes, Count Rugen's dungeon has the tools to extract it. Just find the albino. Yeah, well, I pretty much took Patience and threw tact out the window with it. See, neat part there is people talk about hope, patience, and charity. I know one of each. Okay, really nice people. But I will tell you, there are times I look at it going, what's in a name? Well, I can tell you what's in a name. A letter, a number of letters. What order they're in, that's another question. But when we look at your material world, plan what you're aiming for. Do not make the mistake of going, I've got to have it right now, unless it's an extenuating circumstance. Let's face it, you blow your freezer up, i.e., you burn the motor out, you require a freezer now. Do what you have to. Yeah, LA goes, I knew a Patience once, and she wasn't. Yeah, no doubt. I knew a Charity once, and she wasn't either. But the neat part about it, there are nice things to say about just about everybody. Okay, and like I've told people, it's pretty simple for me. I literally pride myself on making every single individual I meet happy. Every one of them. Okay. Some people I make happy by showing up. Most I make happy by leaving. Okay. Now, where it comes to your material world, you desire it to change. Get an idea of what you desire to change it from. In my case, I've got bookshelves here. There's 3. I'll be replacing a 4th one in all likelihood, and that'll be that one right behind me, if it's wide enough. But I've got to bring somebody in to cut the back out when that happens. So that one's going to be a little different, because I don't know if it's got the right size on it. The trick to changing your world is realize your material world did not get to the state it's in overnight. You have spent years building up habits, building up collections, building up clutter. It's not going to vanish in a hurry if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, your house goes up in smoke and you no longer have junk to worry about. Okay, but if you desire your world to change, take a look at what you do and what you're not content with in yours. And that's where you start. Okay, so I'm starting with these bookshelves because the bookshelves, well, over there. Okay, these bookshelves, I don't have a problem with them. They're good, solid shelves. I just have a problem with the fact I'm at a point where I'm ready to upgrade. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Now, let me ask you this. In your guys' eyes, have you got an idea? Are you happy with the way your world is? With the way your material world looks? And I will tell you, the reason I'm concentrating inside is because outside, if my car isn't state of the art, then that's okay. It's less likely to get broken into. My patio, if it doesn't have a bunch of state of the art stuff outside, I don't have to worry about somebody going, "Oh, I like that stuff, so I'm going to go in and break in." Inside my house, I keep it locked anyway. Okay, so that's where I bring people to come in. That's where I come in and go, this is where I deserve the payment. This is where I deserve the benefit. And that's why when you look at your paycheck, starting immediately, whether or not you're working or you've got a pension coming in, doesn't matter what that money's coming from. Whatever check comes in, take 1% off the top, put that in your pocket before you pay anything. The reason being, it will change the feel of your material world, of your work, from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. Well, I'll warn you about one thing, LA. I made the mistake of clearing the bookshelf off and stacking everything going, I want it all cleared. Didn't work that well. Do it one shelf at a time. But while you're planning it, go, this is what the top shelf is going to be used for. Especially if you've got a lot of books. If you organize it first, then you can make things work a lot more readily. Okay, this is the same thing I'm doing with my figures, with my little miniatures up front. I actually put an order in with the pet shop to get a corner. It's a corner not a shelf, but it's supposed to sit inside a terrarium. It's a little cave that sits right in the corner. So I've got one on order, and I'll be picking that up to literally build a diorama in my office here, because the diorama I'm planning on building is going to be of one of the major scenes in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Again, take your image, get it solid. The more solid it is, the easier it is to build. Okay, so I've started making things happen. We're on the 11th, so roughly 1 month, just a month and a week down the road. Okay, I literally have the referral money going back out to a few people. Okay, for me, this is fantastic news. And you look at it and go, well, how can it be fantastic? I gotta ask, LA, what pray tell is a Chotsky? LA's gone. I've got a bunch of Chotskys. Those are going. They're getting reamed out. The books stay. I have no idea what a Chotsky is, but then again, I don't know what a lot of things are. Oh, okay. Yeah, neat part is the shelf I'm looking at putting up here, I've got a use for it already. It will be getting knickknacks on it, because that's where that shelf in between these two bookshelves here is going to be used for dragons. I've got a number of dragons. I like the collection I've got, so I'm going to be hanging on to them. But I need them put where I can put them to use. Now I just got to figure out how to make things happen in the right fashion. But it's a question, your material world, you change it one piece at a time. Every little change eliminates some of the negative that you're hanging on to. Maybe you're a pack rat, maybe you're a hoarder. The difference to my way of looking at it is this. Don't know if this is a legitimate one, but it's the one that I know. Okay. A pack rat is somebody that keeps lots of junk. A hoarder keeps lots of junk, including real garbage. Okay, as in banana peels. I know of one when they cleared out the woman's house. They pulled 7 dead cats out of the house. Okay, now that's a hoarder in the extreme. But I'm looking at eliminating all the excess clutter. Okay, and organizing what I've got that I desire to hang on to. But it's imperative you realize when you go to start rearranging and redesigning your own world. Yeah, LA goes, I've seen that as a forensic cleaner. That ain't pretty. No, definitely not. I mean, I've had to deal with a number of dead cats, but they were dead within a day. AKA, they died of old age. We had one that passed away. She was, what was she? 16 years old, and she finally keeled over. But we didn't leave her sitting around. We moved her right off the bat. But when we take a look at your material world, it's not a question of what other people think is right. Yeah, crime, and that's just it there, LA. Crime scenes can be absolutely horrendous. Okay. Hoarders, it's in my eyes, it's worse because it's usually got on top of whatever the decay is, you usually have a lot more in the way of bugs. Tell you the worst thing I ever ran into on that note. On that note, I remember coming across a spill that was just absolutely covered with maggots. And I'll tell you, the reek was something you never forget. Almost as good as the smell almost as bad as the smell of burnt flesh. That one I tried. Tried it on my own one day. But when we look at the material world, whatever isn't working, okay, whatever you're not content with. In my case, I'm starting to upgrade. I'm clearing the junk out of the way, okay, in order to bring stuff in that I like. And where are we here? Hit that just on principle. You desire your material world to work. Talk to somebody that's done it effectively. Okay, now I will tell you, I am one of the neat little projects I'm working on. Okay, where are we here? That goes live. One of the little projects I'm working on is making certain that I can short things, that I can give you guys a shortcut to complete the things I've been working on. And if we hit refresh on that, it should match everything else. No. Don't want to do that. I reload this site and all of a sudden I got a major problem. But the trick to it is this. If you don't know where to start, talk to somebody that's done it successfully. Now, this is the room. This office is the one you guys are going to see change. I'm almost tempted. Let me ask you this. And Storm, if you're looking in, something just dawned on me. If I take a shelf, because it's not going to be heavy, but if I take a shelf and set it on this bar here, that's a door, but it's the right width, and then attach brackets here. I'm looking at that going, I could technically do that without a whole lot of problem, or move it up. In your eyes, or for that matter, any of you guys that are construction oriented, your input would be absolutely appreciated. I'm thinking that's the other option. Either put it on top or put it down here, because that door there has been sitting there since I moved in. Because I'm thinking that door is all the way to the floor, all the way across. And if I use that as the brace on the back, and then brackets on the shelving, that I think can work. Well, yeah, but I can only secure it on the end. It would be resting on that. It would be resting on that door. Okay, because like I said, the door hasn't moved since I put it in here, and it's just high enough that it wouldn't be a big problem as far as it being in my way. I don't think. Something to think about. I just can't drive nails of that size into the wall. That's just one of those things I've got to look at. But again, when we look at modifying your material world, you plan. Okay, lay it out if you have to. If you're looking at redesigning your room, you literally measure it out, or get somebody that can, so that when you go to make it happen, it fits. Because I'll tell you, the worst thing you can do is get something started and then find out, oh, you're oversized by 1.5 inches. This is just about, I don't even like it when I'm oversized by 1 inch. LA goes, no, but a stick bracket would assist it and give some extra support. Oh, I see. Okay. A stick bracket, I'm presuming you're referring to take on the bookshelf itself. You take a foot long 1x1, bolt it to the side of the shelf, and then set it up. Oh, a sticky bracket. Well, that's an idea. Of course, come to think, well, that won't work. It's a work in progress as far as that goes. And again, I've got this neat little problem. I'm replacing those with hardwood, with the oak. Which means when I go to put that shelf in, I'll already have these brand new oak shelves in, and I certainly don't want to destroy those in the process. Oh, sticky along the length of the. So you're talking along that, essentially along that pink border. Put the sticky on top of that to hold it in place. I'm hoping that's what you're referring to. But, the reality of it is, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that I can do without a big problem. The reality of it is this. When you're looking at your material world, it boils down to what you desire. Get an image in your hand. Yeah, well, that's the thing. In all fairness, I'm saying, I've got a few holes in that from nails. So, there's a number of things I can look at there. One of the biggest things we have to look at is in your material world, make changes a little bit at a time. Every time you remove something that's not working for you, you're going to find things clear up a lot. Okay. That the energy starts moving a lot more smoothly. This is why this shelf over my shoulder is set up the way it is. Because I was able to do so and thereby make the energy run a lot more smoothly. That makes sense, Storm. This is why, like, I haven't told my brother yet, but he's been pushing for me to buy a property with him. I'm going, ain't gonna happen. I am not what we call. I do not like hypersonics. You know, I do not see the point in my moving. Right. He wants me to get to buy a piece of property with him. And I'm thinking this doesn't make any sense. Well, that's the thing, LA. I don't know if it's pressure change. I haven't moved anywhere. And as far as I'm aware, my apartment block is still sitting where it was. But no, it was a high-pitched whine. And, they are annoying as all get out. But we are not talking tinnitus because we're not talking ongoing. Like, it was there for a bit and then left. Fortunately, not a big problem. Oh, great. So where's the pressure change from? The neat part about it, the neat part about it from my standpoint is real simple. Okay, I'm taking a look at the world that you're living in. Okay, if you're not content with it, that is where. Yeah, hope not. I honestly don't know, but that's okay. I've made the mistake of trying to rearrange things without planning it out properly. And you go, oh, I'm going to have to move this and then move it again and again. I've lived in a warehouse long enough. Now it's time to go, what am I designing this to look like? And this is why I'm now looking at the shelves on this wall. Because if you'll notice this little, and my arm doesn't go back there. That picture right there. I've got enough room to drop it so that it comes down in conjunction with that shelf if I decide to go that route. Okay, depending on what I get for the oak shelves will determine that. But take a look at one room at a time. Okay, and like I said, I strongly recommend if you're doing a complete redesign, start with the area that you work on your finances. That's the one that you've got to get the energy cleared up to really control your material world properly and really guide it where it's supposed to go. Supposed to being where you desire it to go. That's the real kicker to it. Okay. That can go back where it belongs. I will deal with those in a minute. The reality is, as with everything else, if you don't know how to go about changing your life, okay, talk to somebody that's done it successfully. Okay, and this is why, if you desire guidance, absolutely, there's a link at the top of the chat, at the top of the live stream that you can reach me at. I do my best to get back to you. I wonder. Interesting, only goes so far. Thought it actually went further, but apparently it does not. Well, that's always entertaining. The one thing that I have discovered, I've made enough mistakes in my almost 61 years that if I can take any of it and help you guys to figure out, I don't desire to go through that headache, then that's the job. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Now, I've been here multiple times over the centuries. And pretty much, well, not always, but often I've come back with the same message. It's time to work together. Okay, this idea of pointing the finger at somebody else, I could blame anybody for the state my house is in. My problem is it doesn't work well. Oh, that's what that is. I'm looking at this going, what the heck is that? Anyway, get an idea what you're not content with. Okay, I've got a lot of different projects on the go simply because I think I get bored. I'm not sure how that's possible, but at this point, let's get started straightening the energy flow out in your house. I'm working on mine. Okay, one step at a time. And that's why some of this stuff is going away. There is so much excess when people have been taught so much about the idea of instant gratification. This is where so many people run into a problem. Okay, rent to own is great for the rent to own company. But I'm telling you, if you go to the rent to own company and you ask them, what's the payment for this time for this price? They tell you it's X number of dollars a month. Then you go out, you take that price, and you go, okay, I'm going to put that much money aside. You go to the store, okay, you go to a normal store, and you price out the thing. Now, if you were willing, if you had the funds where you could put $50 a month aside for an item, okay, if you can afford that, then take that $50 a month, put it aside, even if you pull it out and put it in cash in a box at home. Do it for a couple of months, then go buy the item outright. It will save you a fortune. Okay, and this is just one of those funny little tricks. This is one of those things that you really have to look at. What did I do with? Thought I had something written down here, and apparently I buried it somewhere along the way. Oh. Nope. That. Writing stuff I've been working on. What the heck did I do with that one little list? Neat little projects. Too many of them on the go, I think. Oh! Swift like that. No, that is... Yes, that is in manner of speaking. Yep, that's my next week list. But I am looking at the world that we've got right here. Okay, absolutely imperative that we start taking responsibility for the way our own world is set up. Okay, and what I mean by that is if your world isn't running smoothly, ask yourself this. Are you feeling lethargic? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling overcrowded? All of these things are in your control to eliminate, to free up. You're not, waiting for anybody to come in and straighten it out isn't going to work well for you. But here's a neat little kicker. Okay, and I'll tell you, I heard the idea, oh, you haven't been into a box for a year, you don't know it, you don't require it. It's a cute thought. Problem is that in the bottom of that box may be something that you've been missing forever. Okay, maybe that's where the hiccup is. Okay, but a lot of the time, take a look at the stuff. I'm going to be looking at some of the artwork or the arts and crafts stuff I've got and disposing of it because I know I'm never going to get to it. And at this point, it's just clutter. Again, it's about setting priorities of what works for you. You know, the neat part about it, you know, LA, that's an incredible idea. That really is. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at getting rid of. Just because of the fact it's one of those things. You know, these are just little clay faces, but they may be beneficial for a senior center or domestic abuse shelter. Yeah, something to distract them with. You know, things like this. I'm not going to get around to painting these. I know that. I got too many things on the go. And besides that what you call it behind me. These are the local ones, not local, but these are just the plaster ones. They're like the ones I've got in that are hanging on my wall out in the hallway. But these are for home, for somebody to do of their own accord. And again, it boils down to they're going. Okay. So I know I think about a half a dozen of those, but I never even thought of the domestic abuse shelter or the senior centers. You know, I'll go in and talk to a couple of them. I'm not going to a senior center anytime soon. The way I figure it, why bother? You know, I live in a house in an apartment that I'm perfectly functional in. I got two boys that are doing a wonderful job of helping me out. You know, the reality of it is that those, and again, these are too clunky and too bulky to mail to anybody, and certainly not worth the postage. You know, I mean, it's funny. I've got my rent right here is 1/3 of the going rate, right? And bearing in mind that I've got 3 people pitching in, that means I'm paying 1/6 of the going rate for my rent and utilities. I can't see a reason to move. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I mean, granted, I don't own the building. On the other hand, I don't have to repair the building. You know, this is just the reality behind it. But when you take a look at things, again, it boils down to going, okay, how much clutter do you have? I've got a whole pile of arts and crafts stuff that was a cute thought. And now I'm at a situation where I'm going, I've got all this stuff I know I'm never going to get to. I just don't have the drive and or the inclination. Okay. Besides that, I've got a lot of writing, a lot of different projects on the go. I just don't physically have a whole lot of time. Okay. And yet my health is improving by the day. Okay. I've had people tell me, oh, the medication you're on, make sure you talk to the doctor. The doctor was the one that put me on the stuff that's trying to kill me or make me blind. Take your pick. You know, I don't know. To me, it's just a bad mix. You know, and something just dawned on me there, Ellie. Those little crafts I can take down to the Boys and Girls Club as well and go, here's something else that may work. But lots of things go down to those. This is why I say the senior center is probably an even better idea. Or the domestic abuse, the women's shelter. I don't know if there's a guy's shelter. Of course, there aren't that many guys that will admit that they're being abused. And it does happen. But if I'm going to sit here and tell you I'm not happy with the way this world is running, I'm going to do what I can. Okay, it only stands to reason I should reach out and see what I can do. Never thought of that. I'm presuming you're referring to a D&D game there, LA. That's one of those things. If I had the time, if I had the inclination at this point, it's not a bad idea. It's like I tell people. You have no idea. Wonder if they're back there. Not there. Not there. No, when you talk about my having extra dice, you have no idea how many I've got. But you're absolutely right. I've got one box of 2. Now I'm curious what I did with them. But yeah, no doubt there. Well, this is why I figured I'd ask you guys about the dice boxes. But like I said, I will phone you guys right after the show while I get dinner on the go, because it's going to take a bit to heat up anyway. But, I figure it's time to get rid of the stuff I don't require. And I've got drawers full of knickknacks of crafts and what have you I don't require. Okay, like here's another one of these things. I think it's right here. And that's where I put the boxes. There's all sorts of things floating around here and can't figure out where most of them are. This is what tells me that I've got too much junk that's got to go. And the junk, as it goes away, you'll find the energy level in your house climbs. You will sleep more effectively, and your material world will start to shine in a way that you can't even imagine at this point in all likelihood. Although some of you are gamers, and your imagination is quite well developed. Okay, the neat part about it is we're looking at no longer pointing the finger to the politicians, the medical staff, the medical leaders, the corporations, or the clergy. None of them are getting blamed anymore, at least not in my books. None of them are getting blamed for the mess that society is in. Granted, they're the so-called leaders. We're the people that are choosing to follow them. We're the ones choosing to listen to these people go, you gotta have a balanced budget. I've yet to see a government actually produce a balanced budget. That's not true. I saw it done once. And that was only something like 15 years ago. But by collecting up the stuff that you don't require and redistributing it, and I love the idea with the arts and crafts stuff of going down to a senior's place or to an abuse shelter and going, look, I've got this stuff I no longer have a use for. Can you put it to use? Because I'm telling you, I agree wholeheartedly. This is one of those things that so many people require. Anything to take their mind off of the mess they're dealing with. Because I'll tell you, the mess has gotten bad enough. It's not getting worse. And here's why I say that. In 100 years, I just finished reading my grandmother's autobiography. In 100 years, things have not changed one bit regarding the way that the government and people are dealing with incoming immigrants or people that are a little different. Hasn't changed at all. So our world is not getting worse. It is held at a very stagnant, very, in my eyes, depressing path. It's time to get up and do something about it. Okay, we start with your physical world. Okay, we start by looking at the junk you've got and going, not going to have this anymore. Not going to participate in this line. And I'm certainly not going to wait until somebody else comes out and says, this has to change. I am not the best person on the planet. I'm certainly not the most soft-spoken. But I will tell you, if you decide to follow within the route that I'm laying out, you too can change your immediate world and thereby, by the ripple effect, change the entire globe around us. Okay, we are sitting right now. Are we really up one? We are. We were at 6:02 this morning. When I started the stream, we are now at 6:03. And again, slow climb, but every step up is a step closer to the goals. Now it's time to make things happen. And this is why I've got a box out in the other room. I'm going to go through, and I like the idea so much. These guys are going to get boxed today. Now, they probably won't get to a new place, okay, until sometime down the road. But it's a start. So I'm getting rid of the stuff that I no longer require. But it really boils down to this. Take a look at where your world is, okay, one step at a time. Okay, I'll bring your attention back to this fine little thing. This is a list of stuff I've got to do. Now, I'm about halfway through it. I'm also, about halfway through my day. So I've got another probably, I got a little sidetracked. So the rest of this should be relatively easy. I'll be able to check off a bunch of that. Again, if you've got a big task. Now, for instance, my drawer that I've got all of my artwork in, like the stuff like the figureheads. Okay, I've got a 4-drawer filing cabinet. The 3 of the drawers are full of art stuff. I'm not going to have time to use it. Okay, so I am getting rid of it. It's that simple. Okay, some of the stuff is small. Maybe I've got to see. Hopefully, if I've got a small magnifying lens, that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go buy one. The neat little part of it, okay, from my standpoint is this. I've gone through a staggering amount of odds and ends. Okay. Are we really that late in the day? We really are. Okay. I do appreciate it, LA. And brought to my attention, guys, we are winding things down. So before we go there, I do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with me today. Really do appreciate it. If we take the information that comes out here and we take it the world over, okay, and I'm telling you, the people that are doing the so-called leading right now, they are in desperate need of a little readjustment. And I'm talking politely readjusting, just turning the lights on. Now, bear in mind, this is coming from somebody that's pretty much blunt. It's got to be done. I'm asking you to do it with more diplomacy than I use. For pity's sakes, I'm setting the bar low. Okay. So, absolutely, let people know that we do have a way of looking at the world here that is not full of, we're all going to die and let's see who's ripping who off. There was a small effort to bring a real negative run into things. And that being said, moderators, thank you so much for helping nip that in the bud. In the bud. Very necessary. We don't need the drama of the rest of the world. Okay, I don't know about you, but if I want drama, there's lots of places I can go to get it. In the meantime, what did I do here? Didn't do that. The reality is now, tomorrow is Saturday. We will be, tomorrow's Saturday. What are we working with? We are working with, nope, tomorrow's not Saturday. What am I saying? Today's Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday, which means we're working with open topic. Bring your questions, whatever topic, doesn't matter, as long as it's of a positive, side. Eternity, I did not see you come in today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, with us. I do appreciate it. The reality of it is that we have a lot of work ahead of us. And if we leave things as they are, we're going down the same road that has been done several times over. I don't know about you, but I'm done with going down the same road. Let's try something new. How about if we aim with the idea of taking all of your lives, not taking your lives, that's a bad idea. Let's focus on all of your lives to shift the energy so you can draw prosperity to you in an unprecedented level. Eternity goes, today I'm a ninja. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me, guys. I really do appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.